Wow, good morning, family. Okay, some of you may or may not know that October is Hoodoo Heritage Month. So I think that it is important that we really go in about what Hoodoo Heritage Month is about, the origins of it, and why Hoodoo is important to Black Americans. So we're going to use this comment as the teaching moment on the 7GM screen for today's lesson. Let's read. Lies. Palo is not no cousin to Africa American hoodoo. If anything, Palo is close to Haitian voodoo. The original name of Cuba is X, Y, and Z. All right, so we're just going to address the first half of this comment because this is wholly inaccurate. Okay, my name is Nikki Buchanan. I'm the owner of Soul Things Botanica. I'm also the host of the How to Be Magical podcast. I'm a multidisciplinarian spiritual practitioner, as well as a budding historian of Black culture and spiritual practices. So let's talk about Hoodoo Heritage Month. Hoodoo Heritage Month was coined in 2019 by an elder named Mama Ru, who has an organization called Walking the Dekanga Collective. Now, the Dekanga, some of you may be familiar with the Dekanga or the Cosmogram. Why would a self-proclaimed hoodoo coin Hoodoo Heritage Month come from something called the Walking the Dekanga Collective? It's because hoodoo is a derivative of Palo, Congo traditions, which we may now currently know in modern day in some in Afro-Cuban spaces as Palo, but hoodoo is Congo in origin. Okay, and I have multiple sources to back this up. Reading is fundamental, class. So here we have several books. I'm actually writing a paper on this right now. I'm in school for Black history and education, so this is in my wheelhouse. I'm also a hoodoo as well as a scratched initiate of Palo. So I do believe I do have some authority to speak on this topic, especially as it pertains to the historical origins of hoodoo and Black Americans. This is a nice stack of books, right? I implore everyone to go to their local library, to go on Amazon, to go to Barnes & Noble, to purchase some books. Let's go through these books, okay? First, Before the Mayflower, all right, by Lerone Bennett Jr. Great book. Slave Religion, The Invisible Institution of the Antebellum South by Albert J. Robertel, published in 1978, speaks to the origins of Congo people in America. Classic, Mojo Workin' by Katrina Hazard Donald, also speaks to the Congo origins. It says right here, you see it right here on the front, Paquet Congo. Why would hoodoo have anything to do with the Congo? Maybe because it's from the Congo people. We have another classic, Tying the Spiritual Knot, African Cosmology of the Bantu Congo, Principles of Life and Living. All right, incredible book. Talks about the cosmology, the mentality, the core tenets of Bantu Congo society. You see a lot of ties between Black American culture and Congo culture in Africa. We also have the newly published The Conjuring of America, Mojos, Mermaids, Medicine, and 400 Years of Black Women's Magic by Lindsay Stewart. Another incredible read. And last but not least, we have Njinga of Angola, Africa's Warrior Queen by Linda M. Haywood. Again, now, something of importance to note about the Congo people. One, the first arrival of imported Africans to New Spain, the colony of New Spain, which is now known as Fort Monroe, Virginia, 350 enslaved Africans were brought from the port of Luanda, Angola, okay? 350. This was in 1619, okay? So the first enslaved Africans that were brought to this country were from the Congo. What makes you think they didn't bring their spiritual and religious practices with them? Also, since a lot of people understand that there is a lot of, especially the first Black churches that were established in this country, one of them, I believe, is in Georgia. It's like the first African Baptist church in Georgia. And somebody could correct me if I'm wrong. There is a Dekanga etched into the floor of the church. Why would that be there? Where'd they get that from? Oh, okay. Because I just thought that, maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. Just saying. Also, to note, the Congo were one of the few people who had already converted to Christianity pre-colonization. They already had ties to the Portuguese. They already had ties to Catholicism. They already had ties to Christianity, and they already held a belief a belief of bi-religiosity, meaning they understood that they could practice their traditional indigenous beliefs, Congo beliefs, alongside Christianity. They did not think that the two needed to be separated. They were like, we could practice both of them at the same time, which is why when Congo people were brought to America, and specifically the descendants, the ancestors of Black Americans, modern day Black Americans, that's why hoodoo and the church is so closely tied, because the people that brought it here already had a relationship between hoodoo and the church, except they didn't call it hoodoo. It was whatever it was called back home, their own spiritual practices. And the church, that was already connected before they got here. It was not hard for them to integrate their beliefs into Christianity because they had already done that on the mainland. So again, I want y'all to realize that the way that y'all come and talk to people is rude, out of pocket, bright, and stink. It's not very nice. And I also would like to think that maybe when you see a Black woman talking about something, just because you don't know what she's talking about does not mean that she's a liar. Don't you dare come in my space and call me out my name and be wrong. And then don't even have the decency to apologize. I don't like that. So you had enough time to delete this comment. You didn't. So now it's here for everybody to see so we can all learn something today. Everybody, from me and Mr. Congo, read a book.